High Five Casino is a social casino with real prizes and big Vegas hits at highfivecasino.com. The hottest games right from Vegas, and all winnings go straight to your bank account. Hundreds of exclusive games, free daily rewards, and come back to get free coins every 4 hours. Visit highfivecasino.com or download the High Five Casino app.
High Five Casino is a social casino. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details at high5casino.com.
High Five Casino.
Don't miss out on the Power Trip morning show when they take over Treasure Island on February 6th and 7th. Be there for tons of games, laughs, and great prizes, including Vegas trips to watch the big game. Book your stay using the promo code KFAN for both the 6th and the 7th to save 15%. To get the full details and book your stay today, head over to KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 pass, post-mortem, day after. And I've been reminded by a number of people that they put the factoid on the screen last night late in the game. The soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings are the oldest team. They became an expansion club in 1961. Same year the Washington Senators moved to Minneapolis. Actually, as Pat Royce would say, I see what's saying, the Bloomington Prairie. The Vikings are the oldest team of every MLB, NHL, NBA, or NFL team to not win a world championship. In other words, well, they've never won one. Other teams haven't. Carolina's never won a world championship. And several other teams, a handful, Jacksonville, and in the other sports, Miami Heat, I don't think have ever won it. No, Miami Heat won with LeBron, right? But there are probably some.
And they won with Dwayne Wade and Shaq.
Yeah, right. So there have been several NBA teams that have never won it all, several NHL teams, but they are not as old as the Vikings. They were established after 1961, which is a horse apiece. It's 6 to 1, it's half dozen of another. What does it really matter if you've never won a world championship? You've never won a world championship, regardless if your team has been in existence 1 year, or in the case of the Vikings, 71, 81, 91, 01, 11, 21. 65 years?
64, yeah.
64 years. That's the oldest. So, and it's, though me, Tenneby, I'm always half glass full guy. It's how I felt about Detroit with the Motor City Kitties. By the way, you're welcome on board the Motor City Kitties bandwagon, though you know what? I don't think we match up well against Jaden Daniels in Washington. Of course, I said that about
that against the Vikings.
And the team before that and the team before that because of that decimeted Detroit defense.
You've been beaten down as a Detroit Lions fan.
And you know what? For me, it's like if they win, my guess is there are fans out there. Tenneby, we read my my Grok. What do you call my Grok explanation? No, my Grok Wikipedia page, I guess. I typed in who is the common man, went to Grok, it's Twitter's version of AI, and it said I have detractors. I annoy people. I'm a gadfly, right?
Yeah.
I know there are people out there that want the kitties to get just killed, so then they can try to rub it in on me. Do all you want. I don't care enough. I've learned if you're a Viking fan, once you come over to my way of thinking, it won't hurt as bad. Enjoy the losing.
I like my way of thinking because I had a lot of people making fun of me for having 3 favorite teams.
Yep.
Well, 2 of them are still available.
Yep.
I'm still in this thing.
And they might meet in the big game. And if they do, you've got the best of both worlds because you're going to win no matter what. With 2 minutes to go in the big game, you're going to be able to stand up and go, my team did it. Now I know what it feels like to win a world championship.
I don't know who I would, because I haven't done a hierarchy between the Lions and Chiefs. I don't know who I would cheer for if that happened.
Well, are you one of those guys that, I just want to see them continue to build their legacy? I want Mahomes and Kelsey and Kansas City to win more and more and more. See, I'd rather, even if I wasn't a Detroit fan, I'd rather watch somebody else. That's a team that's been mired in mediocrity.
The Lions winning would be a great story.
They've been mired in mediocrity more than the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings, they're 2 different stories. The Lions have had literally no success over the years, since 1957 when they won the World Championship. Up until last year, they'd only had one playoff win since their last championship. That's 60-plus years with only one playoff win and only like 11 or 12 games. They were like 1-11 or 1-12 until last year. But what you do is what you should do is, that the oldest team of the major men's North American four that has never won a championship, embrace that, man. Puff your chest out in pride, man. Go, you know what? Can't be historically good. Right now, I got my arms under I don't really have suspenders on, but you ever see those old shows where the farmer guy puts his, yeah, I got quite a crop here. Yeah, it's got a bumper crop here, and he's got his thumbs under his suspenders. I got under my pretend suspenders. It's like, we did it. We did it again.
Should we be cheering then from Buffalo to win it, so then we'd be all by ourselves? Right now, we're kind of sharing the load with them. How
old is Buffalo? When did they come into existence? They're probably that same time. When did the AFL? AFL came around this. We must be close. If we're the oldest, Buffalo must be nipping at our heels, man.
Well, it says October 28th, 1959.
Well, then what are they talking about? Or is it because they weren't part of the NFL until the 1970 merger, so they don't consider the AFL one of the major four?
Yeah, so the Bills advanced to the AFL championship game 3 years in a row, 64-66.
Yeah.
They won the first two. They were AFL champions.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, so there they go. That was the days they had, not Joe Ferguson, he came later. That's a name from the past.
Yeah, so they joined the NFL in 1970.
That's when they had the former... there was a guy that was like a United States Senator that was a quarterback, Bill Bradley. No, Bradley played in the NBA. Look up the quarterback for the Bills during those years. I could swear it was Jack Kemp. Jack Kemp was the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills for those champions. I guarantee it was. And then Jack Kemp served in the United States Senate from New York. I think he was also part of the Kemp's ice cream fortune. But I don't quote me on that for sure.
Yeah, Jack Kemp.
Yeah, Jack Kemp.
And Darryl LaMonica.
Ooh, Darryl LaMonica, they called him the Mad Bomber. He was really good. He played number 3 for the Oakland Radiators.
And then Jack Kemp served as the housing secretary in the administration of President George H.W. Bush from 89 to 93.
Yeah.
Previously had served 9 terms in the United States House of Representatives from 71 to 89.
Let me guess, World War II hero, too. Why not throw that into the mix? It's like, what else what did Jack Kemp not do, right?
He was the running mate of Bob Dole in the 1996 election.
That is correct. Old Sam Darnold had an arm, E-I-E-I-O, with a sack here and another sack there, here a sack, there a sack, everywhere, sack. Did I get to 9 yet? I don't think I did. It's not all on Sammy Darnold. Can I say that right now? I mean, he was, again, mediocre at best, if not bad. He was a little better than last week, I thought, though. I mean, you got to take baby steps, Tenneby, when you're trying to improve. When you bottom out like you did against Detroit, you can't expect just to have this meteoric rise. He's not like a phoenix rising from the ashes. He wasn't resurrected from the dead like... I'm really bad with names. What was the guy's name? Born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried, and the third day rose again from the dead, sitteth on the right hand of God the Father Almighty, and comes to judge the quick and the dead.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus, that's who it was. So you can't expect that kind of a resurrection just like overnight from dead to alive. But I know somebody put a stopwatch on every single sack, and it's like, literally you're supposed to get rid of the ball in 2.5, no longer than 3 seconds, unless you roll out of the pocket and bide some time. But in a straight drop back, get the shotgun and stand back there, you literally are supposed to get rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds. Well, when you have plays and pass patterns that take 4 seconds to develop, which is what that's all KOC calls. If you'll remember, there's a stat out there, and I think this is correct. The Vikings have more 20-plus yard plays in the air than every other team in the National Football League. And I think KOC kind of likes that, man. We have a vertical passing game. We're the modern version of North. We have or Air Coryell, where we just throw the ball downfield. You're like Danny Fouts. We We don't throw little screen passes and we don't throw little square ins and button hooks. We throw the ball long. So when you drop back and you get there at 2 seconds and you're about to release the ball and you see 4 guys coming at you from every angle and your offensive lineman grasping at them, hanging onto the defender's jersey trying to prevent. It's not as easy as it looks to get rid of the ball. And again, I'm not trying to alleviate any of the trouble from Sammy Darnold, but...
Well, and the 4 guys was the key because they were just doing it with 4-man pass rush. They had 7 back covering up all the passing lanes as they could. But they were getting pressure with just 4 guys.
That's a real good team. And, I think the Rams, didn't they start the season like 0-4, 1-3? I mean...
They had some bad injuries.
They had some bad injuries, and it was the beginning. They've been playing there early. They can give Philadelphia a run for the money. I think they could beat Philly, but... So there's, again, plenty of blame to go around. We'll spread
That was a peek at the purple. Peek at the purple, by the way.
I'm sorry, peek at the purple. Brought to us by our friends at Affordable Electric. They... 24-hour or emergency service. They will never, ever start work until they give you a complete estimate of what the cost will be. They're your old home specialist. Affordable-electric.com. Remember, they're shockingly affordable. Back with a little Just That Laugh here on The Fan.
In Your Hand is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head over to KFAN.com.
We'll also be giving away a pair of tickets to Flop, Sweat, and Tears, New Hope Cinema Grill this Friday. This will get your mind off the Vikings loss. Take in the comedic stylings of Meat Sauce, The Common Man, Larry Mondello Guy, and the wickedly funny Colleen Justice. Not only will there be testosterone-fueled humor, but guys, bring your gals because Colleen will tickle their fancy with her estrogen-fueled comedy. Show starts at 7:30. Tickets available now at cinemagrill.com. We'll give away a pair before the show's over. Also, 5-Iron Golf. It's the latest addition to stimulator golf. Actually, it's called simulator, but I just like to say stimulator golf in the Twin Cities. I was there. I brought baby brother Peter there during the holidays, and it's great. It's a great vibe, chef-inspired food, TrackMan technology. You'll love it. Big, wide open bays to play. You can play golf, round of golf at all sorts of iconic golf courses, including Pebble Beach. It's kind of the most popular selection for most people. They have games people play now every night and every day now, or just practice your game. So it's pretty cool. So we'll give those away a little $100 gift card to the 5-Iron Golf in the not too distant future. Tend to be Avatar, aggravated Vikings anticipatory traumatic abandonment reaction syndrome running rampant. It is a epidemic/pandemic in the Twin Cities right now. We don't know if there's a cure for Avatar. We've not even developed a vaccine. We do know that there ain't no cure for the summertime blues, so we don't know if there's a cure for Avatar. We think it's a big game world championship, but alas, we've never reached that. At the beginning of the year, we were all hopped up on hopium.
Yes.
Remember hopium? A derivative of opium, and it was selling hope. PA peddles it. He should be the FBI, the CIA, the BBC, B.B. King, Doris Day, and Max Busby should be on him and arrest him for selling all that hope.
And that hopium made me feel better temporarily. It was not a permanent fix.
It's not a cure-all.
No.
Now, apparently, what they've just come out with, and they've rushed it to market without really, they did, some minor trials, some laboratory test animals, copium, to try to cope with the loss. So my suggestion is load up on copium, or maybe do a cocktail of hopium and copium. So coping with what's happening now and then hoping for the future as well. Or just embrace the losing, as I've said before. Enjoy the biblically bad moments. But then I decided, I wonder what Grok AI says we should do, Tennessee. We're relying on Grok AI for a lot of things nowadays. A lot of people are going to Grok AI. So let's type in, what should Vikings fans do now after last night's season-ending loss, ? Let's see what Grok AI says. Aha, here it is. The Minnesota Vikings season concluded with a loss in the 2024 NFC wildcard game against the Rams. For fans, there are several steps to take in processing this end and looking forward. Number one, reflect on the season. Despite the disappointing end, the Vikings had a strong 14-3 regular season record, capturing the NFC North title. Fans can reflect on the positive moments, like the team's performance throughout the season and the individual achievements of players like Justin Jefferson. Yeah, that's going to work. That's going to make me feel better about it.
Did it say they won the NFC North? Is that what that said?
Ooh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence.
Grok is wrong.
Yeah, artificial intelligence. They see all, they know all. He's like the Wizard of Grok. The Wizard of Grok. Sees all, knows all. Celebrate individual successes. Highlight the accomplishments of key players. Sam Darnold had a notable season, which could be a point of celebration or optimism moving into the next season. I think most people would rather tar and feather him and send him out of town on a rail rather than embrace his regular season success. Justin Jefferson's continued excellence can also be a source of pride for fans. Yeah, great. Won the receiving yardage title. That's wonderful. Now that'll...
Sounds like the motto for Minnesota sports. Minnesota sports, celebrating individual achievements.
Look forward to the draft and free agency. I don't think we have any draft picks. How can we look forward to it? Aren't they all gone? With the season over, attention can turn to the NFL draft and free agency. And if you really want to know more about the NFL draft, look toward Meat Sauce. Just ask Grok. Grok told us yesterday that he is an expert. He also has a penchant for male genitalia jokes. We also learned yesterday from Grok.
I always love that.
The Vikings have opportunities to strengthen the team, particularly with the cap space they have. Fans can keep an eye on potential draft picks or free agents by listening to Meat Sauce that could help the team improve. I threw that part in. Engage in community and fan activities. Being part of the Vikings community involves more than just watching games. Engaging in forums, attending fan events, or even participating in fantasy football can keep the spirit alive. Websites and forums dedicated to the Vikings offer spaces for fans to discuss the team's strategies, future prospects, and share their passion for the team. I think passion's pretty much gone right now. I asked Nordo, he now hosts Vikings fan line. I said, how many calls or talkbacks did you field last night? I go, how many? He goes, I don't know. I go, 25, 30? He goes, 30. I said, how many of them started out with, I've been a Viking season ticket holder for blank amount of years? He said at least half of them.
Yep.
And every one of them said, and I'm finally done with this club. You're done with him until training camp next year. Don't. You're just lying to yourself if you're saying you're done with him. Prepare for next season, Tennessee, is what Grok AI suggests. The end of one season is the beginning of the anticipation for the next. Fans can start looking at the schedule, planning for games, and thinking about how the team might evolve. This time can be used to analyze what went wrong in the playoff game. There's not much to analyze. Old Sam Darnold, he got sacked, E-I-E-I-O, with another sack here, with another sack there, here a sack, there a sack, everywhere a sack. I
can tell you what went wrong in the playoff game. Everything.
Everything, yeah. It's the old, it's almost like, is it Murphy's Law? It's almost like Murphy was coaching our club. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. This time can be used to analyze what went wrong in the playoff game and what needs to change. As tend to be said, it would take a long time, other than just to sum it up, everything went wrong. Embrace the emotional aspect. Losses, especially in critical games, are part of sports. It's okay to feel the sting in defeat, but also important not to let it overshadow the enjoyment of the season. Fans can use this time to process their feelings, perhaps through fan clubs or online discussions, where the shared experience can be therapeutic. I've been a season ticket holder for 27 years, and that has never worked before, so why would it work now? For those looking for more immediate engagement or distraction, you could ingest copium. There are various pushers on the streets of Minneapolis right now. There are various fan activities and discussions happening online, including on platforms like X, where fans are already sharing their thoughts and looking forward with optimism despite the loss. I think most of them are sharing their utter disgust with the club, and most of what you're probably finding on X right now would be filled. Well, it would make Anthony Edwards blush, and we know Anthony He can throw out the expletives. Tenneby, I asked the question. He was fined again. He's been fined like $250,000 this year for gestures and using foul language, 4-letter words in interviews. So then I asked, I said, what are the chances he might become, he's the most fined, most money fined? Somebody sent me, and I wish I could look it up. I could go back through all the text messages and go back to about 24 hours today. It said that there's some player in the NBA, and I recognize the name. I'd have to think about it. Ben Wallace.
Yes.
Was he a guy that got in trouble a lot? Is that the right name? I don't want to. I think
he's a big man for the Pistons.
I think it said he was like fined $19 million in his career. I'm thinking that's not even possible, is it? Maybe it was $9 million. But literally millions of dollars in fines. You've got too much money when you just don't even care about fines you get. Think about it. Maybe Ant's looking for, look, you can't be the best at everything. Find your niche. If it's throwing out 4-letter words and making excuses for your poor performance. He was brilliant last night. Of course, we were playing the worst team in the league. We let the worst team in the league hang around, which again is further proof what I've said all along. When a pretty good team, I don't even know how good the Wolves are, but when a team that's superior to the other team, they screwed around the entire game, I'm sure, until late and said, well, it's time to turn it on. And then they turned it on and won the game last night. So good for them. Take this Grok and shove it. I ain't using artificial intelligence no more. I mean, who can do any of that? Oh, just forget about a roll with the punches and get right back on that bandwagon. I did a couple of videos last night, fireside chats. And I told Deuce, this was last week when the Lions were playing the Vikings. And I really thought I bought into the hype of the Vikings and Sammy Darnold and KOC being the quarterback whisperer. And can't let B-Flow leave. Well, if he does, he should take some of those defensive players. But that was a bad performance. See, the thing is, and I do think KOC and B-Flow are both really good coaches. Mm-hmm. But there are other really good coaches in the league, too. McVay's really good.
McVay's really good.
I don't know who their defensive guy is, but he's sharp. And they went out and they decided that, their offense was already pretty good. They have a really solid running back. That kid can play
He's
football.
Really good.
He's good.
Kyron.
And then, of course, we already know Stafford is. I think he'll get to the Hall of Fame, don't you? He's won a big game. And he's put up great numbers over the years. And I think because he was saddled at Detroit, those numbers could have even been better. You got a potential Hall of Fame quarterback. You got two of the best wideouts, even though didn't Koopy Kupp, he wasn't really that.
Down the stretch. And even last night, he's just basically a non-factor. Yeah. It's the Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua show.
Yeah. Higbee was good early, and then he got hurt, some chest injury, whether he comes back. Well, but that offense is solid. McVay's a really good play caller. He knows what he's doing. Stafford gets rid of the ball quickly on a blitz, which Sam does not do. But I also think the Rams also call plays where they go with, if I can see they're blitzing here, so I'll check out of a longer downfield pass, and I'll throw a shorter pass. And it works. That's how it's supposed to be done.
Well, I'm glad you brought up giving credit to the Rams, because we tend, as Vikings fans, you tend to focus on the failures of Darnold and the offensive line. And on the other side, the Rams were pretty darn good last night.
Yeah.
I mean, Stafford, especially early on, he had some throws that, I'm sorry, we were perfectly defended, and the throw was so good you can't do anything about it.
That's correct.
Good pitch and catch. He was dialed in last night. Their defensive line is just unreal.
And it's young.
All of them can rush the passer.
And they're young. They were all drafted within the last 2 years.
Well, by the way, Jared Verse was available when the Vikings selected Dallas Turner last year. Only 1 year in, but that don't look good right now.
No, not now.
Because he looks like a star.
Yeah, and so...
But the Rams were spectacular last night, on top of the Vikings not being great.
Verse, Fisk, Kinchins, Carty, Limmer, Avila, Young, Turner, Puka, Davis Allen, all drafted by the general manager, whoever he is. It just was a quick little blurb.
Les Snead.
Yeah, I just saw it come up on. Well,
the video that's been going viral today is the video of Sean McVay and Les Snead talking leading up to the draft. They drafted Puka Nacua. Was that 2 years ago? That was, previous year.
Okay.
Because they drafted him in the 5th round, and no one really thought of him, right? He's a wide receiver out of BYU. And they were commenting before the draft about, hey, we want to get this guy. We think we can get him here. McVay was just gushing about him and like, he does this well, he does this well, he does this well. So now it's going viral today of like, look how much they nailed this pick. And they did. The heck of a fifth-round pick.
It wasn't Ben Wallace, it was Rasheed Wallace. Is that correct now?
That's who there was a Ben Wallace as well.
Yeah, but it sounds like it was
Rasheed is the one I threw out.
And then someone
yesterday.
said those fines were mostly from suspensions. Like if someone said, most of huge offensive players who engage in contract holdouts and missed game checks, which are considered fines.
Well, I know like Rasheed led all-time leader in technical fouls.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, that Rams team is put together well. And again, Tennessee, there's a reason cliches are cliches because in most cases they're true. And what do you hear everybody say? You want to be playing your best football in December, right? Into January. And the Rams, we talked about it. I don't remember exactly. Weren't they like 1-3 or 1-4? I brought this up earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, they started out the season, they had some injury issues, and they were not playing well. And they had to make a late push to get into the playoffs. And look, they're also fortunate they weren't in an NFC North or they wouldn't have made it. Maybe their 10-7 would have got a wild card. I don't know. But they won their division because the division just wasn't as strong or was more well balanced. I think it was more that there's Seattle's okay, Arizona's okay, and then who else is there?
San Fran.
San Fran, and they had an off season. I mean, they were just terrible. So, but the Rams played their best football, and I think they can give Philadelphia a run for the money. My guess is that's who you'll pick in spread sweat. Oh, wait. Is Deuce right? He said you've been eliminated in spread swing? Is that because we're eliminated?
I have not looked yet.
No.
I believe that's probably correct because I missed both picks, and I had the Chargers against the Texans. The Chargers got blown out. I know there was probably a moment last night where Rosen was probably sweating it out because the Vikings were getting routed by the L.A. Rams.
Well, when Deuce seemed to surmise that you were going to be eliminated, and our response was, sorry. We laughed out loud like we do in Spreadswick. Sorry about that. Well, you're the regular season champ. That's
when there's 6 games available and you have the 8th pick. It's a little challenging.
Yeah. Where's the
Can I do the excuse computer on that one?
I was going to say you could throw the excuse computer. You won the regular season. That's more prestigious. That's.
Well, I backed into the win too.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't even hit one of my week 18 picks.
I had one double down left, and I selected the wrong double down.
You and Rosen both could have won if you had just done the other game.
If I selected Detroit, Minnesota, I would have won the whole thing. So, yeah, and again, I this quarterback whisperer stuff, I always, look, that's not to say that he isn't good at developing quarterbacks and maybe one of the better ones, but people just think there's this Midas touch. Remember all the credit he got for Pasternaut? What happened there? The more he worked with Pasternaut, the worse he got. I know that Cousins had better numbers under KOC than he did before working with KOC, but they weren't dramatically different. And he probably did help him out some. And he probably had a lot to do with Sam Darnold. I think people didn't think of it or dismiss the idea that spending a year in San Francisco, just giving Sam some of the credit himself. You got to give the credit to the guy that played. He was brilliant for long stretches of the season this year. The Vikings' record against playoff teams this year is 3-4. 0-2 against the Rams, 0-2 against the Kitties, 2-0 against the Packers, and 1-0 against Houston. So they're 3-4 against playoff teams. They beat up on, and a lot of teams beat up on bad teams. I'm sure the Lions' record, 1-loss record, Kansas City, Buffalo, they're littered with teams that are bad because there's
a third of the league was awful.
Yeah, right. And so you're going to play those teams. It's not your fault. So our defense is old, right? Is that what did I hear? We have like one of the oldest rosters in the league.
Yes,
and so it's in that competitive rebuild they were talking about. I mean, and you know what?
They got a lot of free agents leaving. Well, I shouldn't say leaving, but that are going to go to free agency.
Pending free agents that could leave. And, the competitive rebuild, Tennessee, I think both you and I doubted it. And it was more successful than I thought it would be. But the problem with it is it's sort of like the way George Allen used to coach, God rest his soul. He coached the Rams in Washington. He never won a world championship, but he got his team to postseason. And you know what his motto was? You've heard this one before. This is what he's famous for. The future is now. So in other words, he wasn't concerned about down the line. He wasn't the caretaker of the organization. He was a head coach that wanted to win, and he wanted to win now. And he did win. He never won the whole thing, but he had playoff teams. And so when you're doing a competitive rebuild, I think they're more competitive than rebuilt, right? Other than if J.J. McCarthy ends up being the kind of quarterback that they believe he's going to be in many others. But we got old guys all over the roster, and how many of them do you want to bring back? How many want to come back? Does B-Flow go? Do we trade KOC? I'm not sure you can get as much for him today as you could have before the game started. But, again, you still have a nice foundation, I think, with the club if you want me to sell some hopium. But I also think we don't have a whole bunch of draft picks. And we got salary cap money. So, yeah, we're not done. I don't think the window is like, well, now we do have to do a complete So a competitive rebuild was probably better than I thought. But I still think we need more changes now because this iteration of the club, I don't know how many of these old guys you bring back. And I don't have the roster in front of me to see which guys are really old and which guys aren't. Now, I know somebody just pointed out Jake and Cannon Falls, and this makes sense. Harrison Smith, our long snapper, and Gilmore really skew that age curve, and they probably do, right? Because when you got guys that are really almost ready for AARP and senior discounts at Perkins, they are going to make the roster look a lot older than it is. But
you ready for the list of free agents this offseason that Adam Schefter tweeted? Okay. Sam Darnold, Harrison Smith, Stephon Gilmore, Byron Murphy, Aaron Jones, Cam Bynum, Cam Robinson, Jerry Tillery, Shaq Griffin, Jonathan Bullard, Dalton Reisner, Johnny Munt, Brandon Powell, Nick Mullins, Daniel Jones, Cam Akers, Jahad Ward, Patrick Jones, Trent Sherfield, Camus Grugier-Hill, and Fabian Moreau.
How many of those guys do you look at their names and say, we got to have him back? They're indispensable. I don't know if I heard more than one or two, really. 3 or 4. Maybe I'm not paying as close attention to their production on the team as I
Byron
once
Murphy
did.
was pretty good this year, I thought.
Byron Murphy was good.
And then, regarding Aaron Jones, I've heard that this draft is littered with good running backs.
Okay.
That you just like the most amount of running backs that have ever come out in a draft. And so I think this is one of those. I know we don't have a ton of draft picks, but this might be a year you draft a running back. You don't have to draft them high because there's going to be so many available. You
know what I would do?
But you're going to have to get corners because all 3 of those are basically our 3 starting corners are all free agents.
You know what I would do? I was the Vikings in the offseason. Wait for free agency and sign the top 5 free agent running backs available. Let me guess, some of those running backs that I thought the Vikings should sign. Joe Mixon, is he still playing right now or has his team been eliminated?
No, Houston Texans are still going.
How about Derrick Henry?
Still playing.
Oh. Really? Well, I got to assume that Saquon Barkley, his club's been eliminated.
His team is still going.
Oh. How important are those guys to those teams' success?
Very important. They were all very clutch players for their teams.
Well, how about the guy that used to play for Detroit, the guy that with DeAndre Swift? Is that his first name?
Yes.
They're done, right?
Well, he's in Chicago.
God, they blew the whole bit. Let me rewind that.
And Josh Jacobs was another name you thrown out. He just got eliminated. Yeah.
Oh, he did get eliminated. Sure be nice to have Mixon, Henry, and Saquon on there. We'd still be playing right now. But I forgot. We don't like the running game here in Minnesota. KOC is allergic to it. He does not like the running game in any way, shape, or form.
I want to draft a Kyron Williams in the 5th round like the Rams do. That's what I want to do.
A couple of cursory runs just because, I guess we're obligated to run, and it doesn't work, and I think he gets excited about that. Let's throw the ball now. Because I'm the quarterback whisperer. Anyway, I don't know. It's... Maybe I'm lying to myself. Maybe this is affecting me more than I thought to be. I'm trying to point the finger everywhere, except maybe I should point it at myself. Maybe I didn't do enough. Maybe I didn't spend enough time on those chat. Like Grok told me to do. Get into the Viking community, support each other, and really help each other. Give them a shoulder to cry on, so we can all skull. It ain't working. We'll break. We'll come back. Tenneby's got a little 5-3 for us. 5-3-4 for us at the top of the hour.
Is it going to get biblically bad in Dinkytown?